everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
you know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What's up, you ducks? It's all in football on FTN Fantasy. We're talking preseason NFL football. Week 2 still, because we only got a little taste of it yesterday, so we get a bigger taste today. I'm going to ask you the same question I'm going to ask Meanie tomorrow, Lauren. We're going to talk Travis Kelce. There's already a comment in here about Travis Kelce. His name's cropping up a lot of places.
Yep.
But as a reminder, code ALLIN, get you 20% off at FTN. If you go to The Athletic, $1 a month on the rankings and the projections, so make sure you're checking that out. And because I don't want to forget this time, I was supposed to give away a t-shirt last Wednesday, and we just started talking, and I forgot. And I told people I was going to give it away with you this week. And then I said, you know what, Chris, we have to give away 2 because I forgot to give away the one last week. So the person from, do I have any? I don't have any drum roll thing over here. Here, you get a fart emoji. The one from last week. Oh, that was a really short one. The one from last week is Nathan Katonsky. Wait. Katowski. I was going to say Katonsky.
What are you trying to pronounce his
he just put a football in. Look at that timing. Congratulations, Nathan. So there you go. I couldn't tell if I wrote an N or a W. It's
like,
obviously
as
a
you
W.
were trying to pronounce his last name, then your unicorn poop thing
went off.
Continued.
Nathan. It's for you. So congratulations. There is another one. I'll wait a little bit for another one because then I'll remind myself to give it away by knowing there's another one coming. So here's the thing I'm going to do, though, Lauren, because to make up for it, for everybody out there. So if you're listening on the podcast, like just not watching the video, well, you're kind of missing out. But you can go to the YouTube page afterwards. For everybody, here's the reminder. Don't email me. But I appreciate you guys emailing me. But you email me if you're a winner at jciely. And then
Not if you're a loser.
Yeah, not if you're a loser. So, well, no, because some people are like, I want to get a shirt. I want to give away shirts, but this is how you do it. So I'm going to actually give away 2 today, but only if you guys have a requirement here. You drop comments in. That's how I pick out the random winner as they go into that little circular wheel, which you've seen before on the show. But I'll give away 2. All you guys have to do is this: 50 comments and 50 likes. We're already in the 20s. We're already creeping into the 30s. You just got to go 50 and 50. So if you see there, you can up your chance by just commenting and liking. But by the way, don't like 17 comments from one person. Like you'll get algorithmed yourself out of it, not by me, but YouTube will get angry at you. So don't do that. But yes, I'll give away 2. I'm definitely giving away 1, but I'll give away 2 if we do that. So anyway, Lauren, on keto, she needs energy. She's also doing intermittent fasting. So
I saw pictures of myself from the. Let me just explain this. So I saw some
okay.
pictures of myself from the expo, and I was like, I don't think I'm like fat by any means. I just want to lose a few lbs, but I'm very instant gratification. So I can't do. I've tried everything.
So you're like that kid on Instagram that did the one squat on the sled machine and then looked at his stomach and was like disappointed.
Literally, that's usually me. But it's so I used to be an athlete when I grew up, right? So like when I start like working out and stuff, like the muscle memory of my body is just like bulk up. So I literally have weighed the same for a while. But like before I was like a solid 150. Now I'm like a mushy 150. So I would like to lose like 10 pounds just to bring me back down to that 140, maybe tone up a little bit. Because I saw like the chicken cutlets coming out my tank top on some of them and like my New York arms. And I was like,
I don't want to give it away because the whole reason. So when I went to see Kevin Hart, I told Chris yesterday, I went and saw Kevin Hart on Sunday night with Nicole, with the fiance. We saw Kevin Hart live in Norfolk. You're not allowed to have phones that like they make you put them in these like unlockable bags that like when you walk out, they unlock them for you. So you can't record anything because it's a brand new series. Like it's probably going to be on Netflix or something, whatever it is. But he made a joke about the flying. I don't want to give it too much away because I don't want to give away Kevin Hart stuff.
Yeah.
But it was really funny. And then Nicole's like doing the same thing because we're getting married. So she's like, I was like, just don't lose the butt. Like, is that okay to say? Like, as a guy?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Okay.
No.
I don't know if that was like, I don't know if that's like sexist or like or whatever. Like, I don't know.
I mean, like, no. Like, no,
Nicole,
that's not.
love
I
your
think
butt.
that's totally fine. If that helps you out, and all, like my husband has said that to me too, and he's like, "You can do whatever you want, just don't lose your butt." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I
so
can
there
do
you go.
that because I do walk
Okay.
a lot, so there is that. But no, like I'm trying the intermittent fasting again, and I'm combining that with keto. So we'll see how that works. I literally only have enough energy for this for like I'm saying a month. We'll see where I am next week. Why don't we do this on the show? Let's see how much weight I can lose in 4 weeks and just see if I stick with it.
That's what
Right
everybody's
now
tuning
I'm
in
down
for.
in coffee and I hate my life.
They don't want to care anything about preseason week 2 or Travis Kelce. They just want to
No.
pay attention.
How much weight did
intermittent
Lauren
fasting.
not lose? Because I guarantee you in 3 weeks and like same.
Well, how about this? Look, see, you've already got comments about it. So losing things, Travis Kelce, I don't want to talk about him because I kind of teased it yesterday. I made the joke, and it was tongue-in-cheek, but I said, is Travis Kelce even top 3 anymore at tight end? I think there's a conversation for him to be third, though, not even second, because he already finished behind Mark Andrews last year. And what we saw last year in the second half of the season was when we sat here on these shows, on shows everywhere, everybody was right. I wrote an article about Patrick Mahomes and the struggles he was having early last year. People are panicking. People are losing their minds. People are like, should I just switch my quarterback out for Patrick Mahomes? I got the comments and the emails saying, I drafted Patrick Mahomes. Should I start Kirk Cousins? And it's just like, whatever. You do, but boo, whatever as you would say. But it was the cover 2. Teams were playing cover 2 nonstop. They were just keeping everything in front of them. And then they adjusted, which was spread the ball around more. Patrick Mahomes, as much as he didn't want to trust the rest of those wide receivers, also brought his game into more intermediate level. That kind of hurt the production on a pure sky level, like a ceiling level. But what we're looking at here is a different team. Tyreek Hill's gone. Juju Smith-Schuster comes in. MVS is the deep threat. We see Mecole Hardman, also a deep threat, but they draft this guy more, as you're frustrated with your hair. But the interesting part about Travis Kelce that I found was, I'm pretty sure it was Nathan Jonke. I can't find the tweet, which is aggravating me because I want to give credit where credit is due. But they were talking about Travis Kelce's snap counts in the preseason and the regular season. That's almost a 1-for-1. Like, ridiculous. Like, 93% preseason, 94% in the regular season. And then last year, it was 80-something% in the preseason, and it was 80-something% in the regular season. Not a huge drop. Travis Kelce was still a top 2 tight end. But this preseason, as he's now 33, it's in the 60% range. Nobody believes it's going to be 1-for-1 this year. We know they're going to keep him healthy. But does that keeping him healthy drop him into the 70% range? Is he 2 questions, Lauren. Is he definitively behind Mark Andrews? And are we having a conversation where we could put Pitts in front of him now?
I would absolutely say that he is behind Mark Andrews. I've been on that storyline, if you will. I've been in that camp for quite some time. I'm a little hesitant to put Kyle Pitts ahead of him, but would I be surprised? No. But one thing we did not see in the preseason game that I think a lot of people need to recognize too. First, one of them, actually, there's 2 things. One of them is that you brought up the cover 2. So this was a situation for Patrick Mahomes last season when teams started figuring out how to break down Patrick Mahomes, and that was showing him a lot of cover 2, which ended up derailing him just a little bit, but then they ended up recovering. So that's another thing I think he's still trying to work through. But the second part of this, Juju Smith-Schuster was not on the field. And he is that other slot guy that's going to be helping out Travis Kelce when it comes to what defenses have to do to scheme for those short and intermediate throws that Patrick Mahomes will have to do because, like we said, defenses have caught on to how to, basically get underneath Patrick Mahomes' skin. So he's still going to do very well. He's going to be a great tight end. Looking at the landscape of tight ends that are out there, there's still a huge tier gap here between all of these guys. So even if he does fall behind Kyle Pitts, he's still going to be an early round drafter if you want to have an elite tight end. He's just not going to be as super duper spectacular as he's been in the past, but he's still going to be productive.
So do you remember the yardage difference between Kyle Pitts and Travis Kelce last year?
No, I do not. But you're going to tell me, though.
I am going to tell you, because it's 99 yards. Kelce played 1 fewer game, so take that into account. The biggest discrepancy, as everybody was disappointed in Kyle Pitts last year, was because the touchdowns weren't there. Kyle Pitts, 1 touchdown last season. People overlooked the fact that it was a record-setting year for a rookie tight end. This hasn't been seen since, honestly, you have to go all the way back to Ditka with the Bear, and that was
Well,
only
and that's
14 games. So
that's the whole thing. Like, people were so disappointed with Kyle Pitts, and we kept saying, and you and I said this last season.
yeah.
This is going to be a record-setting year for him, but that does not equal huge fantasy production. So no, this is why rookie tight ends just calm down. Continue. I'm sorry. I'm triggered about it.
You're not drafting Isaiah Likely in the 10th round now?
Oh, I'm so all over Likely. Are you kidding me? I'm highly likely.
Highly likely. So there's a world, but see, the problem is now we're also going from Matt Ryan to Marcus Mariota. So I'm not saying put Pitts over Travis Kelce, but I think we are saying Mark Andrews. Are you taking Mark Andrews late second if he's there for you? Or
absolutely.
You are?
Yes.
Okay. So then the second part of it comes down to it. If Travis Kelce is still going in the late second, third, and Pitts is in the fourth, do you ignore both? Do you take Pitts in the fourth? Or because I'm the one who's ignoring all of that because I don't want to tight end in the first 3 rounds, maybe fourth, but Andrew's not making it to the fourth. So maybe I'll think Pitts if it's late fourth. So I'm usually in that next tier. I'm with Kittle, Schultz, and Waller and taking them in the 6th, maybe even 7th if Schultz makes it there. So that's where I'm at. Where are you? Because you just said you would do Andrews in the 2nd. What about the other 2?
I need to qualify that though. I'm targeting those guys only if it's a keeper league. So I wanted to put that on there. So if you're in a keeper league, you already have some of those players that you may have been targeting in those rounds, whatever. So yes, then I'm looking at Mark Andrews. If it's just a straight redraft, no keepers, then yeah, I am looking at our boy Dalton Schultz. That's even a little high because there could be some other tight ends that fall depending on how deep your league is. So on a keeper, I have no problem. Am I going to go Travis Kelce over Kyle Pitts? Yes. And the reason I'm doing that is not because I don't believe in Kyle Pitts, not because I think that Travis Kelce is, he's a superstar. So what am I saying? I'm lying. I do believe he's a superstar. What I'm looking at is the known commodity at quarterback. I believe in Patrick Mahomes more than I believe in Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ridder. So that's the qualifier right there for me.
I'm trying to find it. Somebody asked about Juju. So I have an article that just came out today on The Athletic, which you can go get the discount and read, but it was last year's trash. I love doing last year's trash because people are so bitter that they don't ever go back to players and they turn into huge discounts. There's 10 players in this article. About 7 of them are free. Like, we're talking last round or not, are being undrafted right now, including Robbie Anderson, there's some news about Rashad Higgins today that he might leap in front of. I'm still taking the flyer on Robbie Anderson. It was just 2 years ago. He was wide receiver 23. I don't think he's going to be wide receiver 23. I even mentioned that in the article. But the point being, he's free. Kenny Golladay, our boy, in quotes. We're not really Kenny Golladay boys, but he's free. There's Damian Williams was in the article. I'm going to talk about him in a second because we had last night's game. He's free. That's how ticked off people are. Juju Smith-Schuster is going in the middle rounds, and you just mentioned it. What do we know? Of all the wide receivers in the NFL, arguably the biggest quarterback upgrade this offseason, going from Ben Roethlisberger to Patrick Mahomes. So even if he's only in 18% target share versus 22 like he was with the Steelers, I'm taking that. So I'm with you.
His target share is going to be so much higher. I would put money down on that. His target share is going to be a lot higher.
Are you even trying to play the MVS versus Mecole Hardman game? Or are you just kind of I don't even care?
No, actually. So speaking of later round guys, I'm not just because Mecole Hardman, is banged up, but I'm looking at MVS. And I'm kind of like that thing with MVS. He's burned me a few times because of, long dropped passes. so that kind of burned, but comments. I'm still targeting him.
Somebody said you forgot MVS, and somebody said, yes, so did Aaron Rodgers for the last 4 years.
Yes, great. Good call. So yeah, I like MVS there because, like you said, he is going so late. So in the Kings Classic, I got him very late in the Kings Classic, and I was very happy with it. And then it just solidified that the way that they played, even without Juju Smith-Schuster. I get it, but he's a speedster. He's a deep threat speedster guy. So I'm going to take what we call a flyer. I'm going to throw a dart throw on MVS because why not? I like the offense. Why not?
And when it comes down to tight ends, and I say this every single year, the reason I'm not a tight end first round guy is because what we just saw what happened with Kelce last year. This is what I argue against with Pat Mayo every single year because Pat's like, I'll take Kelce. I've even gone tight end because of this. The reason we draft Pitts, Andrews, Kelce, the reason we're doing that is because it gives you such an enormous leg up at the tight end position that's why. And that's why you're sacrificing the opportunity cost of running back and wide receiver. The reason I don't do it is because if you take Kelce in the second and he has a last year's version, which is still great by tight end measures, it just didn't give you that gap you paid for.
The return on investment is not there.
Yeah, you double dinged yourself. And I understand, like, you could take a running back in the first round and they could be a disappointment. I understand. But the point being is, like, running back, you did that. You didn't give up the opportunity cost, and, like, it's easier to replace. The reason you're doing this is because you're paying for that big leg up. So even if they produce 90% of their value, you still lost. Like, that's the difference. Is like, if you get 90% of a running back one in the first round, it's like, okay, I'm actually kind of happy with that because at least it didn't get hurt. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's because a lot of people usually push back and, well, look, anybody can get hurt in the first round. I understand that, but it's because you've given up that extra opportunity at running back and wide receiver that you get that. So Andrews, I'm okay late second, but the problem is if he starts going towards the first, second round,
which
I need Andrews to just do what he did last year. He has to do that again. See, there you go, and that's you're paying for the peak. All right, so. Last night's game, not a lot to go off. I just mentioned Damian Williams. Tyler Algier finally got his run. We knew that was coming. We knew he wasn't staying seventh on the depth chart. But I'm not super excited about a lot of pieces in the Falcons offense because it's still a Falcons offense. It's Drake London, Kyle Pitts, the backfield, Cordell Patterson, end. So I've said I like Algier long term, as in maybe week 4, 5, 6, 7. But I kept saying, like, take a chance on Damian Williams. Take a chance on Damian Williams. Last week, barely got any run. Last night, barely got any run, but he got it early with the ones. It looks like to start the season, it's Damian Williams and Cordell Patterson, right?
I would agree with you there. This is one of the reasons I hate preseason. There's several reasons why I despise preseason. But, like, not only am I terrified every single game that someone's going to get hurt. Like, it's so anxiety inducing that, like, I don't even want to watch because I'm like, oh my God, please. Oh my God. Like, terrifies me. But then we have expectations, right, about some of these players. And when it doesn't meet those expectations in preseason, we have this and I say we, not like specifically you and I, but the overall we of the fantasy industry and, consumers is like, oh, well, then he's done. Like, oh, well, then this guy's definitely going to be in. And so when that happens, what I do is I tend to be like, I don't want any part of that because that is terrifying. And preseason does tend to exacerbate misconceptions and then completely derail everything that you've worked on. When I say that, I mean specifically me, because I'm really sick of all of my research just getting flushed down the toilet with preseason. It's fantastic.
The reason I hate preseason is because I hate that it's confirming a lot of the things we've been saying for 2 months.
I know. That's another thing, too.
I want to go back to July when I was
I know.
I was like, I really enjoyed getting Damian Pierce in the 12th round. Like, that was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
That's just the frustrating thing.
I'm still not going after Damian Pierce. Don't do it.
Oh, you hate rookies anyway. So, like, that's a conversation I have to have with me.
I hate rookie wide receivers.
You hate rookies, period. You hate young people.
Not.
They're on your lawn right now. Do you want to go yell at them? You're going to be the grumpiest old person in a home that this is.
Whatever. I am full of rainbows and sunshine. How dare you? Get off my lawn, Jake.
Oh, see, there you go. All right. Then let's talk about some non-rookie wide receivers. How about that? You want to talk about that? Let's talk about the Buffalo game. The Buffalo-Denver game, which Denver said, ugh. Denver is like basically like, oh, we have to show up for this game? Ugh. Like, but granted, the starters, they didn't really do anything with their starters. But the Buffalo side of things, we got some work there. So there's a lot to chew on with Buffalo because people are excited. It's the Buffalo offense. Like, they get excited for Isaiah Pacheco because, it's the Kansas City Chiefs offense. But Buffalo side of things came out clicking, came out firing. Let's talk about the wide receivers first and then talk about the backfield. So Isaiah McKenzie's stock has been going up, nonstop. It's kind of almost like everybody got tired of being excited about Gabriel Davis.
Yep.
And now they've moved on to Isaiah McKenzie. But they're still excited. It's just like next week we're going to be talking about the 15th string wide receiver in this team because we want to go on. Anyway, Isaiah McKenzie stepped past Jamison Crowder like we expected. So, again, a month and a half ago, Isaiah McKenzie was free. Now you have to take Isaiah McKenzie in the middle rounds. But here's the conversation I had with Pat Mayo yesterday. I want to spin this a different way instead of just, are you in or out on McKenzie? Because we're in on McKenzie as the slot. Mm-hmm. He's replacing Cole Beasley for all intents and purposes. I sat here and had the argument with Pat, and I said, would you rather have the third wide receiver who could potentially be fourth because he's battling with Dawson Knox? Or would you rather have the clear number 2 on a bad offense?
Ooh.
And that was the kind of the conversation we're having, because we're sitting here talking about who was the clear number 2 we were talking about that is trying to think of number 2s that aren't on a great offense, and not number 2. There isn't a number 2 we care about in Chicago. Trying to think of the number 2. Oh, it was Robbie Anderson. And then forget the Higgins news today. Let's just say that goes away and Anderson's clearly the number 2 again. I was saying I'd rather take Robbie Anderson on 110 targets than Isaiah McKenzie on like 90 and hope to guess his weeks. I understand why he wants that upside, but I'd rather have the one who I know is the locked-in number 2. Like, where would you start? And I'm sure there's a line of demarcation. I threw that one out. You remember that from high school? I like that, where this comes in. I don't even know if I used it properly. It just came into my mind. I'm like, I'm going to throw it out there because I remember that.
Do it.
The line of demarcation probably means nothing. Probably means it's like something on a map. But the point being, Isaiah McKenzie versus Robbie Anderson, or similar situation, Van Jefferson versus Robbie Anderson, those kind of, like KJ Hamler if he's healthy versus Jahan Dotson. Like, I don't know why I say Johan, but anyway, I can't even talk.
Yeah,
right now.
I think for me, it's not going to necessarily be the fact that it's
a
Nico
Collins too. That was the other one I brought
one.
up too. Thank you, Lee. That was the one I was mentioning as well. I was saying that's actually who it was. It was Nico Collins, and then we brought in Robbie Anderson. So there you go.
So I think for me, it's not necessarily going to be the fact that they are a quote wide receiver 2 or a quote wide receiver 3-4, depending on whatever offense it is. For me, I'm going to look at the volume. So that's where projections for me are going to come in very handy, is because I want to take a look at projections across the board on who these experts think are going to have the greater volume. So that's what I'm going to go with. So in this case, I would go with Robbie Anderson, who is going to have 20 more targets than Isaiah McKenzie. Now, but I don't hate the argument for the upside either. I think it just depends on what you feel the most comfortable with in your roster, because you don't want to be looking at your roster during the season like, why did I do this? Simply because other people told me to. Like, no, this is your team. You need to make this fun. That's what fantasy football is. So if Isaiah McKenzie is your guy and you pass up on Robbie Anderson late in the draft, who cares? You're not wasting anything. Like, go for it. I don't know. I mean, so I guess that's where my cutoff is checking the volume.
I'm doing the thing. I did use it properly. It is. Demarcation is on a map, but it's the marking of limits of boundaries of something with a clear, definable boundary. So there you go.
Okay, Oxford Dictionary.
So there you go. Actually, Merriam-Webster. Thank you.
Merriam-Webster. I don't know. See, I didn't even. I'm a journalism major, and I didn't even get that right.
There you go. I was doing that for.
I've got intermittent fasting keto brain. Don't judge me.
Is that what it was?
I'm hungry. Leave me alone.
Since I brought up those names, are you in or out of Nico Collins? Because I have a lot of Nico Collins, but he's starting to creep up now. He's still not, doesn't cost you much of anything, but he went from being a free pick to now 11th round.
I think I'm out. I think I'm out on Nico Collins. I just haven't been in. There's nothing that really excites me about it. Every time I hear it, I'm like, meh.
Yeah?
No.
I
could be wrong. If I am, awesome. Way to go, Nico. But no, I'm personally not going out of my way to make sure I get him.
I'm just so glad you haven't done the one thing this entire show. And actually, I don't remember if you've ever done it. I'm just really happy you've never done it. It's like, I hate when people are like, in best ball.
I know. We talked about that before.
Everybody is amazing in bet. Like, you can make an argument for anybody, including Mike Davis. Let's talk Mike Davis. How do you like that for a transition?
Ew.
Exactly. It just feels like... Is this that the world, like, it feels like it's going to happen? Because everybody was on Mike Davis last year, myself included, fifth round pick, sixth round pick. Granted, some people are out there, we're going like third round. We weren't that crazy, but we were in on him. We were in the fifth, sixth round because it was volume. Nobody expected Cordell Patterson to happen, let alone to take that much away. And honestly, and this isn't saying like we were right. We were wrong, 100% on Mike Davis. But if you look at Mike Davis's production, it wasn't so much that it was the production that wasn't Mike Davis. That's what we expected Mike Davis to do. We just expected him to get 260, 270 touches, and he only got about 200. That was really what killed him. It was going to be an uninspiring volume or value. Here's the issue. JK Dobbins. JK Dobbins, iffy for week 1, but it sounds like they keep saying he's on the progress of getting out there. Maybe by the end of now we're kind of looking at Saquon Barkley from last year, where it's like, well, you have to wait till the end of September to get the 100% version, which is fine. But Mike Davis is out there, and he's doing things, and he's running people over.
In
He's trucking people.
preseason. No.
I'm just saying, should we
No.
even care about Mike Davis?
No, we should not.
What if JK Dobbins got hurt tomorrow? Would you be on a Mike Davis?
No, I think there are other options out there. I'm not. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Remember that I said I was really hungry? I'm no longer hungry because we're talking about Mike Davis.
You know what's going to happen is the Bills are trying to feature Zach Moss because they don't really want him.
Oh,
JK
yeah,
Dobbins
please. Everyone jump on the Zach Moss train.
Zach Moss is going to go to the Ravens and run for 1,200
no.
yards and 14 touchdowns.
I can't believe you put that out in the atmosphere, Jake. Why did you do that?
I'm just trying to think of where Zach Moss and Kenyan Drake can end up. Like,
I
just
know, right?
Because the Zach Moss and the Bills just doesn't make sense. Yeah, so let's go to that Vegas-Miami game because that's a good one. I was actually in the notes originally had hate the Drake because I had the notes there yesterday. Can't even make that joke anymore because Vegas clearly hates the Drake. They hate him so much, he gone. He's going to find a new team. On the flip side, we've been trying to speculate about what the Miami backfield would be.
Oh, no. There's no speculation. If anyone's been following me all summer, that was an exciting game. Now let's hope that carries over into the regular season because if this breaks my heart,
the question.
I'm going to be so mad.
We know Chase Edmonds, even in the lead, won't be 300 touches. That's not who Chase Edmonds is. But that's fine because Chase Edmonds in the lead role on the Miami offense. Yeah, in the Miami offense. But here's the problem. What if Raheem Mostert's just been held out because they know he's the lead? Like, what if when he came there, he said himself, I've got to prove myself again, but Mike McDaniel's familiar with what I can do, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
What if Mostert is like, we're excited about Edmonds, but what if it's Mostert? What if it's 50-50 and they're just keeping him healthy? Like, how worried are you? And this is why I want to talk about you because I know you're the Edmonds person of this show.
Yes.
So
I'm not worried. I'm not necessarily worried about that because if anything, I always tend to go back to what does an offense bring to the table that a defense is going to need to scheme for, right? They're going to have to figure out what to do. And Tua, bless him, sorry, Tyreek Hill, he's going to be doing the short, intermediate dump-off passes, and that is going to be a Chase Edmonds role, I believe. Now, this is going to sound absolutely terrible, and I hope that I'm not right. But week 4 or 5, when Raheem Mostert continues to see a human being and thinks it's a brick wall that he must run through, then we're going to have a problem. And then Raheem Mostert is no longer fantasy viable for the rest of the season for several weeks. I don't know. So yeah, are they trying to keep him healthy? Absolutely. If it's a 50-50 split, that's fine. Because Chase Edmonds for me is a pass catching running back that I am going to put in my flex against teams that are porous against pass catching running backs. So that is why I drafted Chase Edmonds and why I'm so excited about him is because this is what he is able to do. He is not one of those A.J. Dillon line from scrimmage backs that's going to be pounding people over. I think that's going to be more of a Raheem Mostert role or a Sony Michel role type of deal.
Lauren's version of doesn't shy from contact is sees a brick wall and tries to run through it. That's
literally like, do a little juke move or something. He's just like, no, and just like runs through
That's
human
because
beings.
he usually gets through them and then he's running 40 miles an hour. And
then he hurts himself. That's what bothers me.
The fastest man in football.
He's dude, the dude is tough. I mean, he plays hurt. Like, dude, take a break. Right? Rest yourself up, but you don't need to run through the
Meeseek Scream
human.
shirt. Every single time you see Mostert carry the ball, this is what we're doing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It is fun to watch because that man is a steamroller.
It's like
but
he's
it's
either
going to
score a touchdown or break himself. Like
I
if there's
know.
only one or two outcomes.
But man, he's intense, and that's what scares me.
You know what? So there was a comment in here from Albert. Thank you for always watching, Albert. That the Cardinals need Drake back. I bring this up only for this reason. And I'm glad that Albert said that even if it doesn't happen, I think this is intriguing because
it is intriguing.
If you're in a league that already drafted or even in Dynasty and Drake gets dropped or Drake is out there, go pick him up because of this reason. Because if he does go to the Cardinals after granted, he could just sit out. He's going to get paid anyway. He might not want to play anymore. Why get hurt when you can get millions just sitting down? But if he ended up in the Cardinals and supplants, and like it's, oh my God, he's back with the Cardinals. He's back in the pet. Like he's back with whatever. The value in fantasy is going to skyrocket. You turn around, get rid of him in a trade, and boom, you just made money for nothing. And that's why I say that. Like anybody, like if Zach Moss got cut today, go do it if he gets picked up. Because if he doesn't get picked up, then you cut him. But that's how you make these return on investments really easy. It's like free lottery ticket on the street. Does the lottery ticket potentially end up $0? Absolutely. But could turn into something. You could flip it around. That's why I like it. I want to talk about Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. We already kind of touched on Pittsburgh in a different way. But the Jaguars offense, we know is going to be better. We know Trevor Lawrence is going to be better. We know at the same time they overpaid for Christian Kirk, but Christian Kirk got targeted a bajillion times in that game. I think it was 36% or 38%. It was somewhere in that range.
It was something ridiculous.
It was an absurd number. It's an absurd number that if we went through the season, everybody out there, do the quick math. If they threw 600 times, that's an absurd number of targets.
It's not realistic.
That's 200 plus targets. Yes, 200 plus targets if he carried that through the season.
Could you even imagine?
Could
you imagine us talking at the end of the season that he had like
Kirk leads the league
210 targets? Christian Kirk leads the NFL.
I'm just saying 200.
Targets.
He eclipsed Cooper Kupp last year.
Oh my God, I can't. But when they paid him, maybe they believed it.
Here's the question. Christian Kirk's in the low 30s, high 40s going off the board. I'm not even ask you the question. I'm going to say it as in leading you. I'm going to lead you with this question even though you're not supposed to. We're undervaluing Christian Kirk, are we not?
I guess. Yeah. Again,
even if it's 140 targets. Christian Kirk in the low 30s is undervalued.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe that it's going to be that high this season. And maybe this is just me having way too much of, maybe if you want to call it recency bias, but the history that I've seen with Christian Kirk in the NFL does not equal 140 targets. It does not equal that to me. He has not shown that he is capable of getting targeted. Maybe it's because of just the offenses that he's been on. But I don't know, I don't think we're undervaluing. I think he is where he needs to be. And I think people will be very disappointed if they draft him thinking that you're going to get more from that. It's another example, like I said, what with preseason changes people's expectations. Now, if I'm wrong, that's awesome because you're still getting him at a great value. And if he turns out to be the next Cooper Kupp, why not?
No.
But for me, I'm not
before anybody soundbites that's not what we're saying. Just to be clear.
No, that was firmly tongue in cheek. But okay. Yeah, so I personally don't think that we're undervaluing him, but I don't necessarily disagree with it. Like if someone wants to, put him a little higher than everyone else has called an opinion, you're allowed to have one. But for me, I'm not as excited. I'm not as excited about.
I just think about it. Christian Kirk should have been in that last year's trash article.
It's just that you're right. He should have.
He just wasn't that bad. But because I was going
for
a real big disappointment. Yeah. No, and this I have a lot of Christian Kirk, by the way. Also, the reason I wanted to bring up the Jags is because the Jaguars are my new favorite team. Sorry, Giants, because they cut their kicker, and they officially have 0 kickers on their roster right now. Banned kickers. The Jaguars are winning the Super Bowl. Place your 8,000 to 1 bets because they have no kicker on their team as of right now.
The Jags are my new favorite team because of what they were shouting at Deshaun Watson during the preseason game.
Oh, well, that's also good. Yes. They cut Ryan Santoso, which, by the way, great mustache. He also looks like he's 40. So, but great mustache. And it could have, I would have appreciated him just for that reason. I don't want to see him kick anything. But yes, the Jaguars are amazing. On the backfield of this team, Travis Etienne, clear lead. But there continues to be talk that James Robinson's going to be ready for week 1, ? Coming off the Achilles, which everybody wants to say Cam Akers isn't going to be an RB1 because
that weird
good coming off the Achilles. But we're sitting here and be like, oh, James Robinson's going to be back in the lead for week 1 coming off the same injury. You can see why I'm saying it this way, where my speculation and little snark is coming in there.
No.
Because, right? I'm Travis Etienne team Travis Etienne, but I don't think he's going to be 280 touches.
Right.
But
I 100% get it.
Oh, yeah. Doug Peterson, he doesn't use the bell count. I wrote an article about that, or not, it was at least a blurb, I forget, maybe in waivers or something like that Doug Peterson, when given the opportunity of Miles Sanders, he had used somebody in a lead role 65% of the time. He just didn't usually have quality running backs to do so with. Travis Etienne, still, he doesn't even need to be 65. I only need 240 to 250 touches from Travis Etienne because that, even when Peterson has had a full-blown committee, has turned into a top 20 running back. And I think Etienne can be a top 20 running back.
Are you drafting him as a top 20 running back, though?
He's starting to creep up. It depends on where you play.
I've seen him go so early, and that is my biggest problem with Travis
So that's what I was
Etienne.
going to say. The NFC people, who for everybody out there, is the high stakes leagues, and they try to find league winners. And it's not their ADP is usually pretty telling. Like if you watch the ADP from a month ago, it's usually in line of like where ADP is going and like but there are always outliers every single year. There's a few handful of players that are outliers because they're seen as league winners. I think Chris Vaccaro touches on that for The Athletic a lot of times because he plays in a lot of high stakes. Etienne is one of them. Etienne is going inside the top 15 running backs on some drafts because people are like, ooh, league winner, and they want to be that league win. Because the NFC, the high stakes, it's like first or last. You want the $100,000, or like you're not playing to like get your money back. So if Etienne is going around RB20, are you in? And it's more so the fact that you don't want him inside the top 15, or you want him even later than that?
I want him even later than that. I want to see like what. So I've done several drafts, and I have seen Travis Etienne go early, and I'm talking about third round. That is absurd to me. I cannot wrap my head around it. I think if he was going fourth, fifth, then I would be all about Team Travis Etienne. Everyone is so hyped up about him because of Trevor Lawrence and whatever other reason, I don't know. But you're not where I've seen him go in like home league drafts and bar league drafts and whatever you want to call them is so stinking early that like I can't pull the trigger that early with what I don't know what their volume is going to be. And I'd rather have James Robinson that we just keep talking about is basically almost free at the back half who may get the goal line work. So I can't justify it, even though I want to so badly because I love Travis Etienne. And I just can't do it. I can't. I'm so negative Nancy today. I'm hungry. That's why.
I mean, yeah, that's why. Because you had no sleep and no food.
Yeah.
Etienne, Etienne or Ezekiel Elliott?
Oh my gosh! Wow,
just
that's
given
evil.
the choice.
Given the choice. Oh God, I'll take Etienne.
Okay, Etienne or Josh Jacobs?
Oh, Etienne, easy. No, Jacobs is
Okay.
dead to me. That's a personal matter, though. No, like just so everybody knows.
I just unearthed something there. Etienne or JK Dobbins?
I'll take JK Dobbins.
Etienne or Leonard Fournette?
I'll take Leonard Fournette.
Okay, Etienne or Breece Hall?
Oof. Etienne. That was tough. I'll take Etienne.
David Montgomery?
I'll take David Montgomery.
Okay, Damian Harris or Ramondre Stevenson?
Or Etienne?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say,
do-
how did we switch this quickly? What's happening? I'm gonna take Damian Harris there.
So Damian Harris, Etienne, then Stevenson?
Yeah. I was not prepared for this.
How about last one, and then we're going to talk about him. Etienne or Elijah Mitchell?
Oof, I'll take Elijah Mitchell.
So, you know what we also just did, Lauren?
Oh God, what we do?
We made a list!
I was just gonna say it, but I was letting you do your soundbite because I can't do it like you.
Yes. So, estimation-wise, you have Etienne about 22. So,
yes,
not too far off. So, like, right about that range. Mm-hmm. But let's talk Elijah Mitchell, because Elijah Mitchell, not playing until week 1. And then we've talked about Shanahanigans and the fact that, on this very show, I've pointed out and said, a lot of times that's because of injury. It's not, he doesn't usually sit there and say, oh, this guy's performing, I'm going to bench him and go to somebody else. It's usually injury related. Elijah Mitchell, injury related, opened the door. He's not playing the entire preseason. However, as I joked yesterday, Lauren, everybody's kind of tripping over the door frame, not really walking through the door, letting the door close him in the face. Tyrion Davis-Price looks okay. Trey Sermon doesn't look good. We haven't seen Jeff Wilson, who was also away from the team for almost 2 weeks.
Oof.
Are we starting to feel better about Elijah Mitchell now because nobody's taken this opportunity? Or is there still, they have one game left. If Trey asked me the same thing, but I want to get multiple opinions on this because this is probably one of the highest value, most frustrating backfields out there. I am still okay with Elijah Mitchell. I actually go, for you, just so you know, I have Etienne at 18. I'm aggressive on Etienne. I go Etienne, Jacobs, Dobbins, Dillon, Hall, Mitchell at 23. I think he could finish higher than there.
Yeah.
But I think that's a fair spot given the risk.
I do. I agree.
Would you put him lower, or do you think that's too low because it seems like nobody is opening, like nobody's taking this opportunity?
I think it is a little too low. I would put him up a few spots. But it's difficult to know where exactly I would plant him among those. That's what's so difficult about ranking and projections is because you're like, I want him to be higher. You're like, where's it going to go? I think he can go a few spots higher.
Wait, so you already said over ETN. What about who? How about this one? You said ETN over Zeke. Elijah Mitchell over Zeke? I mean, but this is math. If A is greater than B, then B is greater than C. A is greater than C, right?
Yeah. I think that's kind of one of those where it sounds weird. It sounds really weird to say it, but yeah.
Line of demarcation. I'm teaching whatever that was called. I forget the comparative argument or whatever it was. Like we're doing knowledge on today's show.
We're dropping knowledge here.
health at the beginning of the show. Math, geography. Like what else? Can we get some science in here? Do I need to light a Bunsen burner somehow? Somewhere? Or like, what was it from the Muppets? That guy.
Beaker?
Like,
I love Beaker.
Yeah, there you go.
I could do that.
You could?
I can't. Nope, just tried, failed.
I actually accidentally found out I could do a Mickey Mouse voice, and no, I am not going to do it for this show.
Oh,
I found that out.
Boo.
Let's talk. Since we're talking Dallas. And we've already said our love for Schultz. We've already talked about CeeDee Lamb. Yes, we have. I want to talk about the other side of the game. There's not much to go off of Dallas. It's Zeke, Pollard, Schultz, Lamb. Hopefully somebody steps up until Gallup comes back. But I think the better answer is just kind of wait on Gallup, especially where Gallup is going.
Oh, yes.
It's like everybody was excited for week one that he could be and then it's like, oh, he's not going to be ready for week one. Then everybody's like, I'm out. Like, we're done with Gallup. So on the Chargers side, there are two pieces to come away from this game. One is Joshua Kelly is the clear second option right now. You know how I feel. I still feel it's Isaiah Spiller. Maybe not week one, but the answer is going to be Isaiah Spiller. Even like if Austin Eckler got hurt today, I believe Joshua Kelly would get the lead opportunity. Spiller was sprinkled in, but I think Spiller's talent is going to win out. Are you on that, or are you on that Kelly has now cemented himself as the number two and you're forgetting about Isaiah Spiller?
I can't do that. There's no way that you can just say I am team Joshua Kelly because I saw what he could do as a rookie. That just petered out and didn't really come to fruition. Irritating. But Austin Eckler has had some very positive things to say about Josh Kelly. But even with all that being said, I can't just be like, no Isaiah Spiller. It's just Joshua Kelly. So right now, if I'm going to bank on it and I'm doing a draft and I've got like my last pick, because we don't have defenses and kickers in our leagues anymore, do we? Wink, wink. I might just take Joshua Kelly.
You can have defenses, just fix the scoring.
Yeah, fix the scoring on those. And so I think as of right now, I would take Joshua Kelly as just an insurance policy. And I'd keep my eye on an Isaiah Spiller because one of two things is going to happen if, let's say, Austin Eckler does not get hurt. Okay. One of them is going to emerge as the clear number two. We're guessing on which one that's going to be. So flip a coin. For me, I'm going to go Joshua Kelly because I think Spiller is starting to get higher and higher in drafts. Now, if that doesn't happen for the first couple weeks, just like you said, because it's going to be a Joshua Kelly, guess who's going to be on the waiver wire? It's going to be Isaiah Spiller. So then as soon as that number one emerges, if it is Spiller, guess what? Go swoop him up. So I'm not targeting him in drafts if I'm looking at who I believe is going to be the RB2 in the Chargers offense. I'm going to go ahead and go with Joshua Kelly, take that risk, take that guess. And if I'm wrong, he's likely going to be available. So, or he doesn't get drafted and he's on the waiver wire anyway.
Thunder. Thunder. So I'm doing that for Brett because thank you. He answered Nadia with check the link for my rankings. But maybe Nadia, hey,
I love Brett
everybody.
Thunderstruck.
Yes.
I gave him his
Go
name,
over to The Athletic. You can find my rankings or the customizable projection sheet where you can say, Lauren's dumb, I'm dumb, and Larry Roundtree is going to be the backup and get 30% of the workload. And you can change that and see how it works out. But I will answer Nadia's question anyways. Brian Robinson, Isaiah Spiller versus Pacheco. Right, as of today, I am a Spiller person, but I would still take Pacheco first, and then Brian Robinson, and then Spiller. Okay, so you agree. Yeah. The other facet of what you just said is something that gets missed. I brought it up on the show many times before. Did it with Jeff. I want to reiterate this, and I know you're going to agree with me on this. Okay. Spiller is a different case because you said he's like at the end, 13th, 14th round. Those are the guys you swap out. But if you're taking a Tony Pollard or a Rashad White or any of these other backups where you're spending mid-round picks, 7th, 8th, 9th round, and the lead option's healthy for 2 weeks. Don't drop them in week 3. You did not draft them there to immediately cut bait and get the hell out, because you know what's going to happen in week 6 when they get hurt. Now you're going to have to blow 75% of your fab to get them back, or somebody else was going to go stash them. So Madison, potentially another, like any of these guys. I'm trying to think, like there's probably like a list we could do. I mean, who else? I'm trying to like, I was about to say somebody from Tennessee, but that got muddled. So that's kind of out the window. Jamal Williams. I don't even like Jamal Williams.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But, you know, if somebody out there, Darrell Henderson, don't cut Darrell Henderson because Cam Akers is going bonkers the first couple weeks. Don't drop Darrell Henderson. Khalil Herbert. I think it's going to be a potential 50-50 split. But if it's not, we just saw him bell cow last year and what he could do. So, again, I want to point those out. Now, again, if it's Isaiah Spiller and you spent a 14th rounder on, and it's fine. Yeah. The last part before we get out of here on that, Josh Palmer.
Ooh.
Oh boy. Been so Josh Palmer. Go back and look. It was like February. I was like, Jalen Guyton. No, Josh Palmer. But Guyton's looking. Josh Palmer. I don't know how many times I've said.
We talked about that last year.
I know.
So last year, you and I talked about Joshua Palmer and his emergence in the 2022 season. So that ain't new for our all-in football fans.
Not at all. So here's the question. This comes back to something we talked about with Isaiah McKenzie. Real quick version. This isn't. We kind of making a list. This is the quick. I won't say it. But Isaiah McKenzie, Josh Palmer, Nico Collins, Robbie Anderson. Rank those 4. Because there's 2 3s and 2 2s there.
All the same, except switch Robbie Anderson ahead of Nico Collins.
So McKenzie Palmer, or did I say Palmer McKenzie?
I don't remember. Okay, I'll do it again. Palmer, McKenzie, Robbie Anderson, Nico Collins.
Okay. I like it. Mostly because Joshua Palmer's number 1. Which, by the way, we dropped to Joshua, whatever it might be. I am
Palmer.
Big on. And the thing that I like about Palmer is the same reason that people are going crazy for McKenzie but seem to be ignoring Palmer is if either lead goes down, that's a league winner as the number 2 now in that offense. By the way, of Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, who's the one that's been hurt the most?
Mike Williams. And Keenan Allen.
Well, that too, but mainly Mike Williams. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I just didn't know if you wanted me to say that out loud or like I very tenderly whispered it.
Oh, that's true. Thank you for comments. Here's the second winner for today because I promised there was 2. So the second winner. I don't know if this is what was that name of that show that was out in San Francisco with the family that lived on the Full House? John Stamos wins today.
Right on.
With Jon, though.
John Stamos.
Thank you for John Stamos. It's not the real John Stamos. That's like the episode of Seinfeld where he bought John Voight's car. This is the other John Stamos. The same thing. The John Voight on the show had the H, and not when John Voight doesn't actually have the H. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
No, I do.
No?
I do. It's been a while, but yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Seinfeld fans know what I'm talking about for sure. But he bought the John Voight car. It had an H in his name. His name doesn't have an H. This John Stamos does have an H when John Stamos does have an H. So anyway, congratulations, John Stamos. Go comment after the show. If you get 50 of both, I'll give out 2 t-shirts instead of 1 this time. And make sure you're following Stepmom Lauren at Stepmom Lauren, also at FTN officially, and code 20% off. Code 20%, code all in is 20% off. And at The Athletic, go check the link, as Thunderstruck said.
Yes.
And we'll see you tomorrow.